think we're good. I think we're going.
Okay.
Well, first off, how has the new program been in the app?
I like it. I like the fact that you've got all the different programs to choose from. So if I think about kind of phasing through, like I'll go on fall break
Yep.
middle of October, and if I want to go through a couple weeks of kiting, I've got that option in the app. Or if I want to stay on lifting, I like the optionality. I like the fact I can record the weights and things like that. So it's almost like an extension of what you've been sending me on a weekly basis. But so far, I like it a lot.
Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate that. And you'll probably see that the video might be lagging a little bit. That's because it's recording. So if you're like, what the heck's going on? I think that's just normal. But anyways,
I'm listening to your voice and not watching your lips move. So
okay, there you go. All
you're
right,
on
that's all
target.
there.
Yeah.
So just a quick introduction for you. Um, Pat, what did you say you turned this year? 50?
52. Yeah,
52. See,
52.
you've gotten younger ever since the program started.
See, I've been 2 years.
So with that being said, I consider you a busy professional, dad of two kids, one in college. Um, I I want you to tell just your story of how you got to where you are right now, because we knew each other from complete training, obviously.
Right.
And then you started working out on your own at your home gym, and then you hit me up last year, maybe thinking about getting into the training a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the following year, you hit me up and said, let's actually do this. Could you talk to me a little bit about how you got to where you are in your fitness journey and what made you decide to reach out?
Yeah, I'll say, my fitness journey started probably 25 years ago. And I'll kind of give you some backdrop there. But I had we had a biometric screening done at work, and we had not had kids yet. We tried and unsuccessfully. And, the results came back. I was sort of pre-hypertension, pre-high cholesterol. And, my perspective was if I didn't start to do something about that when I did have kids, because it was later on, I wasn't going to be able to stay young for them.
Mm-hmm.
So about 25 years ago, started working out, and earlier, I could not really put on muscle. I was always lean, but probably around 35, I started to be able to put on muscle, and that's what got me going as I saw results.
Yeah.
And then, right before COVID hit, I was training at Complete, and then I went through and basically cashed out all of my American Express points, and I built a home gym. And I began to put together my own program. And it was things I learned from you and other trainers and kind of picking up. But I was going through trying to find my own way and kind of mixing it up from here to there. And I always felt that I was fit and looked fit. But I got to the point where I was limited in what I could do on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And as I got closer to 50, my metabolism slowed down more and more and more. And with all that I was doing to work out and exercise, the weight gain kind of continued. And I want to find someone that can help me both with a weight program, but also the nutritional side, which I was really missing out on. And, just knowing who you are, Gage, but then seeing the things that you're putting out on social media, the results your clients were getting. And I talked to you before, it was ultimately my desire to try to get back to where I wanted to be. And work with someone that had demonstrated results to their clients is what led me to come back to you and want to give it a try this year.
Well, with that being said, I believe I'm looking at my notes right here, but as of right now, we've been able to get you down to about 18 pounds. So 18
Right.
pounds drop. So from 203, 205 down to 185, and now we're consistently sitting around 187 or 190.
Right.
Why was that not really an issue, but why was that a tough task for you to drop back down to 185 prior to reaching out?
Yeah, I was, and I'll give you credit for this. Before, I felt that I was working out correctly and I was trying to mix cardio and lifting heavy. But I remember talking to you probably back in December, and I realized I was probably eating less than 2,000 calories a day. And my body was holding on to that fat. And when you put me on the first month program and had me eating over 3,000 calories, I'll be honest, I thought you were crazy. And I thought I was going to blow up. And eating 3,000 calories a day, I started to drop that weight. And I couldn't believe it. To the point where I felt like I was eating so much, I was miserable at times. and the weight started to come down, to me, I think I was not eating enough to fuel my body. And people I'd worked with before had given me, probably around 2,200 to 2,300 calories with some macro splits. But I like the fact that you push conventional thinking and you knew what was going to work. And then it wasn't just a static set of macros or calorie count. I think as you began to kind of work my body between an excess of calories, at some point depletion of things like carbs, the nutrition combined with the exercise to me is what really helped. And the accountability was another piece too. Knowing at the end of each day, I was going to send you a screenshot of what my meals, macros, and exercise were that day in steps. That helped to hold me accountable. But I think it was the nutrition initially and the accountability helped me to stay there throughout.
One thing I want you to hit on is, well, a lot of people between the 30 to 50 age, you have kids and life is crazy. You and your wife have been able to maintain a consistent like health routine.
Right.
I remember talking to your wife several years ago about just alcohol in general and how like she'll have maybe one drinking night at that time, and or you would go out with friends and whatnot to just hang out and there would be drinks involved. When you started with me, I think you cut back heavily, or you were cutting back heavily prior to that. How has the lack of drinking throughout the week affected your physique? And do you feel like you can balance it out now and have
Oh
one
yeah.
or two throughout the week and feel good? Or what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so when we started in July, we did a completely dry January and then began to phase alcohol back in on a gradual basis. And you get the summer months and you're hanging out by the pool, it's a bit more. I think what's helped to hold me accountable is if I have a drink, I include that in my macros. Because typically, I think if you have a drink, then you want to eat more.
Yeah.
To me, I try to understand the impact of alcohol on your body, your metabolism, and incorporate it into my meal planning. So if I did have a drink in the evening, I didn't have a snack. So that helped me to have those trade-offs. And over the course of the week, I would see consistent dropping. Like on the weekends, in the summertime, I talked about it. You want to enjoy food,
Yeah.
enjoy yourself a bit. Usually I'll see it creep up on Saturday, Sunday. Then Monday, I'm dropping throughout the week consistently if I take that into consideration. So accounting for it plays a big role, and trying to plan for it takes a big role. But excess definitely slows down that metabolism and jacks those sort of empty calories up.
Was it something that you missed throughout the week? Because I'll talk to a lot of guys and they're like, man, I can't not have a drinking night. I can't do it. Was it something hard for you or?
No, not really. And it's something to me, it's, I like the taste aspect of certain alcohol. It's something I don't miss. Like I'll get to a Friday and the week's over, it's behind you, you may have a drink, but something over the course of the week, it's not really something that I miss. It's something that I enjoy, but not something I let sort of control what I want to do. There's days you'll have a horrible day at work and you'll just sit down and have something to kind of decompress, but
Mhm.
it's not really something I missed over the course of the week.
Now, for you, when we were, I think you were talking about this before we started recording. The entire time of training with me was trying to figure out what worked best for your body, and we went through trials and tribulations with that, where we would find something that worked like crazy, and
Right.
then we might get stagnant for a little bit, so we'd have to change it up. I feel like now we've gotten to a point to where we've figured out your body. We know your body loves
Right.
carbs. A lot of people,
Right.
a lot of like regular people cannot handle carbs. So that's super cool to see for me, for seeing with you, is that you can have 200 to 300 carbs and still lose weight.
Right.
For you, what is your goal over the next, let's just say, year to 2 years with your body? I always preach, let's get you to where you want to be, and
Yeah.
let's maintain. What is that for you?
For me, it's consistently being at a weight and body fat percentage that I'm okay with. I first started with, my target was to get to 185 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I got around 188, I was like at 13% body fat. And you said, are you okay being like 190, 195, but 13% body fat? Absolutely. I mean, my goal really, Gage, is to, body wise, I want to be able to do anything I want to do as intense as I want to do it for as long as I can. I'm 52. I want to continue to do things. I want to feel confident in terms of my performance, but also how I look. and I want to be able to maintain a body fat percentage between like, probably 11 and 15%. There's going to be some variances in there, but I'm okay if the weight's fluctuating as long as I'm putting on muscle and I'm not letting the fat creep back up. Because when I started with you, I got on the scale at Stacked and I was 20.7%, I think.
Mhm.
And that was embarrassing for me to see that number. And getting down to 13 to 14%, I feel good. I think we were on the journey to getting to 10% before I tore my hamstring. Not training with you, I was doing something else here at home. But I was on a journey where I felt good. But I'd love to stay, the next few years. There's going to be some fluctuation. And what I appreciate to gauge about you is there's not the expectation that you've got to look your best year round. You've been clear. Like, you plan for the seasons that you want to look good.
Mhm.
Then you relax and stay within reason. To me, within reason is probably that up to maybe 14%, but then working myself back down is where I feel like I've looked the best, feel the best, and perform the best.
I feel like a lot of trainers and nutritionists they miss the mark because they expect their clients to, I guess, want to be perfect all year round, and that's
Yeah.
just so unrealistic. Especially when you have kids,
Right.
job, just family issues going on. Like, there's going to be nights where you're like, I have to have a drink.
Right.
I have to have something to get me through the day.
Right.
And I feel like just being realistic is the best way to get
Well,
results, and do that throughout the year.
it's the only way you can sustain it. I mean, for me, we were working on a goal. We had a family vacation in June, and that was when I wanted to sort of hit my peak early June. And it's something you can't really sustain that. For me, I travel internationally several times a year. I travel quite a bit domestically throughout the course of the year. I've got a stressful job. I do have two kids, and being able to go through seasons where you're trying to be your best, but then seasons where you're not trying to so much degrade you can't recover from it.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to be able to live your life, and I think burnout comes when you just get overworked or over focused on one particular thing. And I just think that the approach that you take of being realistic has really helped me to understand I don't have to live this stringent dietary lifestyle year round. There's peaks that I want to be able to look my best, which is typically hanging out by the pool in the backyard. And over the rest of the year, I want to be able to fit in my clothes, and feel confident in how I look. But knowing I may fluctuate a few pounds. Just, you mentioned I was at 185. Now I'm kind of bouncing pretty consistently between 187 and 190, and I'm okay with that. A
Yep.
Monday may be a 190, and a Friday is usually about a 187, sometimes below it. But
You know the
the
routine
approach
by
you
now, right?
yeah, it's just you're very realistic and thoughtful in terms of your approach, which I appreciate.
One thing I just want to hit on, which was super cool. You said this is the last thing we'll talk about, and I'll let you go. You were working out on vacation, and a younger guy said that he wanted to, I guess, be as in shape as you. Like, what was that situation again?
Yeah, I mean, so I try to stay in routine, and even when I travel, whether it's domestically, if it's internationally, I always exercise. And on vacation, it was something that I try to work out. I try to enjoy it, but I'll work out 3 or 4 times or so in a week. And there were two situations. One was at the gym, and a guy came up to me and asked me what I did. And, I told him the kind of training that I did. And he asked me how old I was. And I said I was 52. And he was blown away. He thought I was like in my early 40s. And he's like, I want to look as good as you do now. And I'd love to look as good as you when you're 52. And then, a couple times just at the pool on the resort, I would have people come up to me and ask me what I did as part of my physical routine. And some of the guys were my age and didn't realize it. A lot of the guys are younger than me, but it's something that, that just builds confidence when you're doing something that other people notice.
Yep.
And to me, especially again, as someone who's 52 and getting older by the day,
Yeah.
having people appreciate that and call it out means a lot to me personally. And I attribute it all to the work that you've done in helping me get to this point.
Well, I'll just say this: the only thing I do is set the foundation. It's up for you to run with it and build the house.
Yeah.
But Pat, I will let you go. Pat Brown, 52 years old, 18 pounds down. I don't think you can get any better than that.
All right. Hey, thanks for the help. I appreciate it.
Pat, we'll see you later, buddy.
See ya.
Thank you.